there. Welcome to the ToughPigs Lounge. This is a place where Muppet fans have a chat, and that's the whole premise. My name is JD Hansel. I'm one of the writers on the ToughPigs staff, and joining me is one of my editors from the ToughPigs staff, Jared Fairclough. Hey, Jared.
That's me. Hello, JD. Thank you very much for having me in your wonderful, wonderful podcast space.
Oh, thank you, Jared. It is indubitably an honor of the highest order to have you in my space.
Well, I figure I'm usually really mean to you on these things, so today I'm going to come in with a whole new energy. It's a whole new podcast, and I'm going to be the world's friendliest person.
It's already making me super uncomfortable.
Great.
Let's turn to one of my other ToughPigs colleagues and friends. It's Matthew Soberman. Hey, Matthew.
Hey, just letting everyone know the coffee machine is once again putting out chili con carne. I'm not saying I did it, but it is an issue that needs rectifying.
Okay. All right. We will make Joe deal with it.
That said, the chili is good today.
Oh, great. And also here,
Who's also here, JD?
A guest in the ToughPigs space. Not part of the ToughPigs team, but a good buddy of mine, well known to Muppet fans all over the web. It's my pal Gav. Hey, Gav.
Hey, y'all. I just want to let you know that I'll be accepting leftover Halloween candy donations until New Year's.
That goes double for me.
Meanwhile, I have already put on my Muppet Christmas Carol shirt.
Good.
Does that mean that we have to listen to Robin sing Bless Us All again? Because, God, I hate that song.
Well, it's
Is
Bless
that
Us
true?
All or When Love Is Gone. So take your pick.
Sorry,
I'll
Jared,
take When Love Is Gone.
I agree with Jared.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a time
Both of you
when
are
I
anti-Bless Us All?
I said what I said.
When I was
Don't sing it now. We have to pay for it.
21.
Guys, we need to confuse them. Let's sing songs from other Muppet Christmas projects. It's in every
one of us to be getting things started here.
Pass it on. Go on.
You know, I will say I will take any of those over the Fall Out Boy cover of It Feels Like Christmas, which is a thing that recently happened and is frustrating to me because I think that song should be a Christmas standard. Everyone knows it, everyone likes it, but we can't get enough people covering it.
Well, I think this kind of proves maybe why covers don't really work for this one.
It might be more of a Fall Out Boy specific problem, and I just want to hear more people give it a go.
Well, here's the thing about Muppet covers is like, this is a bit controversial, but I was not really a fan of the Green album.
We're getting all of the music hot
All right,
takes out,
look,
right?
Some tracks are better than others.
It was a different time, Gav. Like, for those of us who were born in 2011, the experience of getting a new thing about Muppets was like really rare and special at the time.
Mind
Do you
you,
understand?
In the Kitchen with Cat Cora was very out and available at the time.
Gen Z loves Angelo.
Gav, I know you're new here in the ToughPigs space. We don't talk about Muppets Kitchen with Cat Cora.
Gab, I'll give you the keys to the secret lounge where we talk about Muppet's Kitchen with Cat Cora.
I'd appreciate that. Yes,
you,
I
Matthew.
need one of these. I need a safe space for Muppet's Kitchen with Cat Cora.
We here in the old Down Under Land of Oz, we got an extra track on our Green album. when
Was
got
it
released here.
Simon Smith and his Amazing
It's
Dancing
Simon
Bear?
Smith and the Amazing Dancing Bear, sung, I should say, by a very famous Australian singer here named Missy Higgins, who is an amazing, amazing singer and songwriter. If you don't know her stuff, go listen to it. She's one of the all-time great Australian singers. But yeah, we got a cover of that, and I don't know why, because I don't think, like, in England they did any sort of
I mean, do
extra
you
thing.
have Amazing Dancing Bears in Australia?
We call them Amazing Dancing Koalas here.
Gotcha.
I think it would have been more marketable to include Mary Schneider as an artist on the Green album. For those who don't know who Mary Schneider is, she's known as Australia's Queen of Yodeling.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, she is a master at the classic Swiss Alpine style and is best known for yodeling the works of various standards by many classic composers. And she's 93 years old.
Do you know, you said that, and I was like, I have no idea who you're talking about, Gav. And then I've just looked her up. I'm like, oh yeah, I recognize her.
So we'll keep an eye out for Green Album 2, Oops All Oopity.
Good. Good. So, gang, tell me, are there any upcoming Muppet or Henson things that you're looking forward to?
Oh yes, all one of them.
Oh, oh, oh yeah.
Shots fired.
Oh,
My goodness.
Well,
I'd
listen,
argue two things.
yeah, I was gonna say, like, someone could theoretically say the Fraggle Rock Holiday Special.
All right.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
that wasn't what anyone was going to say, but
It's possible that's the thing that's technically coming.
I am looking forward. Granted, I won't get to go on it for a very, 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 very long time because A, your country's in shambles, and two, it's very expensive for me to get there.
Hmm.
But I am looking forward to seeing how the Rockin Roller Coaster turns out.
I am looking forward to looking at the building, walking through the queue line, and then asking for the chicken door.
That's
Yeah.
absolutely fair enough.
of course,
too.
this being a Muppet roller coaster, it will be populated with actual chickens.
That's my hope. I hope they call it the Camilla the Chicken Door. But if we actually get a proper Muppet gift shop out of this, it will have all been worth it. I'd love a proper.
We
Muppet
had a
gift
proper
shop.
Muppet gift
I
shop, and
know.
then look what happened.
I know, but that's the thing is, listen, a Muppet gift shop has a natural cycle of expanding and collapsing. We mostly experienced the collapse, but what if we could get the start of the next wave again? Yes, of course it'll eventually be slowly taken over by Elsa or whatever, but there might be a brief moment where the Muppet gift shop is an actual Muppet gift shop, and I can buy a nice Muppet thing at a very expensive price in a far more expensive place. In a state that's falling apart, in a country that's falling apart.
I would argue it's probably more marketable now than it was when Muppet Vision literally came out.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that there is a market for Muppet merchandise. Now, I can back this up with a story.
Okay.
I was I was in that shambles of a state. I was at Disney World for Destination D23.
When was
Back
this?
The end of August.
Okay, cool.
So, Mickey's of Glendale, which is the in-house merchandise arm of Walt Disney Imagineering.
Yes.
They don't do stuff for the parks. That's a different merch arm altogether, but they do stuff for Imagineering and to be sold at exclusive events like D23 Expo and Destination D23, as well as, sales at their campus in Glendale, California.
Right.
But what they did have was a Muppet 70th anniversary collection. It was just racks and racks of Muppet apparel, Muppet collectibles. I got there mid-afternoon, so like halfway through the day.
Mm-hmm.
On the first day, which was just for convention attendees.
On the first day. Okay.
Yes, and that place was picked over pretty well. And someone there, because they knew I definitely had an interest in Muppets, said, "We are so sorry. We grossly underestimated how much demand there would be for Muppet merchandise. We are going to take this back to our supervisors because it's clear somebody cares about the Muppets."
Wow. And here's the thing, though. I can't blame them because not so many years ago, I would have thought, yeah, I don't know, how well is this stuff going to sell? This is just for us weirdos. But now it feels like there are more of us weirdos. Am I wrong for feeling like there are more of us weirdos?
The weirdos with money that are more plentiful.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I think so. Looking at those Muppet, the capsule that came out, the Manamana one, and I know there's
Yeah.
a couple more that will be coming out at some stage. I don't know when, but they are coming. I know that the Manamana one, for example, was very, very limited edition. I don't know
Yes.
if it was ever reported how many they had of each thing, so I don't want to say just in case I'm not supposed to tell anybody, but it was
If
very,
anybody
very...
got the pin, it would be on the back of the pin. That would tell us at
okay.
least how many pins, because that is a limited edition. The edition size should be on the back.
Okay, so just in case, I'm not going to say anything, but I know it was very, very limited. And I had spoken with Danny Iglesias from Muppet Studio, who had designed all this stuff,
Mhm.
and she was saying that it was limited edition because the people basically making this stuff, or the people in Disney's marketing, or whatever it might be, were like, "Nah, this stuff won't sell. Like, we don't think this stuff's going to sell very well." And she's like, I think you're underestimating just how much this is going to go and how quickly it's going to go. And they're like, we'll see how we go. I spoke to her after the Manamana stuff came out because, yes, there was a couple of things left, but 99% of it had gone within the first few hours of that whole thing happening.
Wow.
And I am under the impression that they have upped the number for the next couple of capsules based on that. So I think they're now starting to go, between these capsules and Matthew, that D23 event, I think they're starting to now go, oh, people actually want this stuff. Okay. Maybe we naturally need to start thinking about this a little bit more. I don't know whether or not that means we'll get some more limited edition stuff or whether or not we'll actually start getting more stuff in general. I also think something that's good about the current people at Muppet Studio is that what they're doing when it comes to this merchandise is they're not just slapping on the same old clip art that we've had for the same 20 years.
Swedish Chef smoking a joint.
Correct. They're actually... It's one of our all-time favorites. They're actually going to the effort to make brand new stuff that will actually look new and feel new and will
Finally.
and it's just new stuff rather than that same picture of Kermit the Frog we've always got slapped on a t-shirt.
Oh, the
Give
one
us
that's
something
currently
new.
on the cover of whatever magazine it is that's in all the grocery stores.
Time magazine.
Yeah, it's the
But
same
even just-
picture of Kermit, same picture of Fozzie.
Yeah, but just the same illustrations as well. Like it's
Right.
always that stuff that obviously got
Yeah.
made in 2005
Yeah.
and has never changed. Whereas now they're actually making an effort to change it. So I'm hoping we see more and more new stuff, and that stuff will fly off the shelves, meaning we'll just keep getting more and more of it.
Yeah, if they keep making beautifully designed stuff, I think we'll get more. I think people will buy it, and that will mean we'll get more. That's what
We
I'm
will
hoping
not
for.
rest until there is a Screaming Goat capsule collection.
You know,
Oh,
I
just
have
you wait.
What does that mean, Gav?
I
Are you
have
planning one?
confidence. I have confidence something like that's going to come out.
Maybe not that character specifically, but yeah, I think it looks good for Muppet merch. It's weird. I'm realizing now why I have not done Muppet podcasts as much lately. Is just that it does feel kind of weird to talk about hoping that the state of Muppet merch is getting better when I need the state I'm in to get better. Like when there's just so much more important stuff. I don't know where to go with this point. It's a weird thing to be like, oh right, getting back into the headspace of trying to care about Muppet merch. But like I do, like I like when it looks good. Like when
Yes.
the company actually tries to make something that's lovely for us. It's really great. I've been enjoying the Sesame Street figures by
Super 7?
yes, Super 7. Thank you. Just because like they bothered to make a Mr. Hooper.
Oh yes, yes.
That's what I've been wanting. I've been wanting the human cast from the 70s because that's such a big part of the texture of the show. Those were stars of the show. And I love the Mr. Hooper. I have not bought it yet, but I'm going to get it very soon.
I think Sesame missed a trick a little bit by not doing more stuff for the adult fans.
Yes.
Like,
Absolutely.
with Sesame being such a thing that's, like it's a public, like, Sesame Workshop being a non-for-profit, that they make their money by, a lot of their money by merch.
Right.
Like, and the kids aren't like that. You can only buy so many Elmo dolls for your, 2-year-old, and no one wants it to be. So why don't they just push that stuff, towards the adults, like that Mr. Hooper figure? And, we're the people who are going to be buying these things, so market more towards us people. And you'll find you'll probably have enough money that you don't have to worry about a lot of that, a Netflix deal.
So I've been thinking about this lately, how physical stuff feels like a bigger and bigger part of the Muppet fan community now than it did just a couple of years ago, as it feels like everything in Muppet fandom, apart from how we consume the media itself, is moving more towards the physical and the visual, when for a long time it felt like the Muppet fan community revolved around text and audio. And it's just sort of like a lot of parallel things happening at once that are part of this, and the merch is part of this, and things like D23, conventions are all part of this. Other fan communities always had conventions and collections of merch pretty central to them, I think, because there was enough convention representation for that. there was enough merch for that for something like a Star Trek or a Star Wars or comic books or whatever. And it always felt to me like Muppets just didn't get much love in the convention space or the related action figure and merch space.
Mm.
And so it's kind of felt like we've been behind there, but have had really good websites with really good writing, making really good podcasts. And now
Like
in
this
recent
one.
years, yeah, we'll see about this one. But, in recent years, I think since this year specifically, since the fall of a certain account that didn't fall out of existence to quite the extent to which I had hoped it would, but still that fell pretty significantly. Out of the ashes of that, a new Muppet fandom ecosystem sprung up on Instagram. And I think because it's on Instagram, a lot more revolves around visual things, which is going to be places that people can go and things that people can collect and things people can make, costumes that people can put together, outfits, like that kinds of, like it's a mix of buying things, going to places and crafting things, and making videos and stuff. And that's been a really interesting shift that is, well, I have complicated feelings about it. It's not a bad thing, but it is a thing, and I was wondering how everyone else is feeling about it.
Well, I'm wondering why your feelings are complicated because I think the whole scenario from last fall kind of like it made it a little more like open sourced in a way. It's not a race to see how like who gets the most engagement out of it.
Mm.
And
Are you sure?
No, but
Okay. Well, you know what I mean, like that, because that is the kind of thing that Instagram generally incentivizes. But usually, like historically, it felt like there was a monopoly on sharing fun clips and photos of Muppets.
Well, that's the thing. It was a monopoly before, but like now it feels like at least a little more like expansive in community, at least in that type of content.
Yeah,
Maybe a little more organic.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not on Instagram.
What I really like about that fan community on Instagram now, and it's something that I've only really myself recognized in the last couple of months. Like I had no idea half these people were out here, but now, due to that Muppet Family Feud that we did a few weeks ago and all that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
I'm starting to get more familiar with these people, and what I'm really amazed by is the creativity of these accounts.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
It's you look at someone like Ribbit Rhett is his name on Instagram. His posts he does for the 70 year every week. Like he goes to so much effort to just like create these beautiful like carousel of photos for these characters every week. And then you've got people crocheting Muppets, and you've got people dressing up and cosplaying as Muppets, and you're getting this whole creativity thing. And I think in the, from the ashes of the account that sort of, well, I guess that fire that burned for a few weeks last year, out of those ashes have arisen all these new accounts and a whole new community that I think have just come closer together.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really, really, that was when I left Twitter. I missed that thing because I found a new community on Twitter.
Yeah.
And I have missed that for the last couple of years that I've not been on there. And I feel like we found that again on Instagram. And like, I'm quite happy that I've been included into it because a lot of these kids have known each other for a few years, and I've only just sort of popped in like g'day guys, I'm the old fuddy duddy who has that website.
Uncle Jared Fairclough.
And then he starts yodeling.
Uncle.
But
yes,
only on the Australian Instagram.
Oh boy. So yes, I'm really I'm excited to see what that sort of fan community how that continues to evolve and grow.
If I may add, I kind of feel like it's my favorite, if not the best iteration of the Muppet fan community as of yet. And that might seem controversial, but like based off of what I know and what I have personally seen, they're not afraid to include people. Like they're very inclusive. And especially like to people who they've never met before, people who have been in the Muppet fan community for years, like 200 years, like Jared. And they invite them in. I don't know if anybody was at the Henson birthday event at
I was going to say,
Museum.
Gav, you absolutely know if anybody was at that event. You know I
Well,
was there.
yes, no, I'm being nonchalant about it though.
Oh, okay. Well, la-di-da.
Some of you, as a matter of fact, all of you were at the
Wait,
Henson
no,
birthday event.
Gav!
You hear that?
Backpedal.
All
You hear
of
that,
you,
Jared?
I was there.
all of you were at the Henson birthday event at the Museum of the Moving Image not long ago, and they were all there, and they were a group, and
Yeah.
they were so kind because, look, like I remember first time I saw them, they were all interacting with each other, and I was very shy. I was like, oh my gosh, this is a group of friends. Like when you see a group of friends talking to each other, they're
Mhm.
probably just going to keep to themselves. No, they're so nice, and like it's so easy to get along with, and so fun, and like they're very colorful in their personalities, and I think they are very cool. I don't know how to
Yeah,
punctuate
Gav,
this
you've run out
sentence.
of adjectives.
No,
All right.
I have
Yeah, but
Finish
I
it.
think
Very approachable.
yes.
But I think that I haven't really gotten to know folks in those circles yet, and I don't know how to because I am not a bubbly person, and I also pretty much only exist in audio and text formats. That is the obstacle for me. But sometimes I exist in person, and now there are, it seems, so many in-person things that are more central to how the fan community works, like the Henson Weekend. Or a lot of those same people were at the closing of Muppet Vision 3D, which turned out to be a huge event.
Oh yeah.
Just colossal, where the lines to get into the theater were going way into the Galaxy's Edge Star Wars area.
And I would argue that that was like a direct cause of the Muppet Graham community because they really advertised that whole event.
Or was it caused by the Muppet Graham community?
Is that not what
That's
I said?
what you
No, that's the
said.
opposite of what you said. But I know what you mean. I do think that there's a relationship there of that being one of the things that fueled it. And it seems like conventions are a part of it too, which is, I guess, part of where the complicated feelings come in is who gets featured as a major Muppet person may, to some degree, have to do with who you can get a picture with at conventions, which has some consequences that may be outside the scope of what we can talk about on this podcast. That's sort of where it's all shifting to, is physical appearances of Muppets, in-person appearances of Muppets, Kermit the Frog showing up to do a commencement speech at the University of Maryland and things like that are now like the content that's on the Muppet side, and also on the Muppet fan side, it's all physical and visual, which then creates a problem because they can't physically be everywhere. Neither
true.
Muppet fan events nor the Muppets themselves.
And you can only hold so many fan events before it starts to saturate the market.
Maybe so. There's also like a question of space as these things get bigger. Like the New York weekend, it started to feel pretty darn crowded at Pigs Beach. Like, it's what I kept hearing is it's only going to get bigger. Like, that event was loud. There were so many people that it was very, very difficult for me personally to feel like I was totally a part of things, because it's like, how do I just have a conversation with someone here with all that's going on?
Well, I think that also has to do with the room they rented out, not
Right.
necessarily Pig Beach, because Pig Beach, for those who don't know, is a rather large venue with lots of spaces.
True.
I think it was the fact that they picked a private room with musical accompaniment, either the karaoke on Saturday or the live band on Sunday.
Right.
It did. I will agree that it did feel more like a more crowded affair.
Yeah.
But you find your people and you hang out with them.
This is true. And I did. I had a lot of good conversations with a lot of cool people. But at a certain point, I guess it's like, if it's going to keep getting bigger and bigger, then I'm just like, when can we have Muppet Fest? When can we have a Muppet convention? Because it's starting
When
to feel
single
like...
shines the triple sun.
yeah, I know. But that's the thing, is like, we used to have a physical era of Muppets before the forums, where if you wanted to be connected to other Muppet fans, you got a fanzine. And then there was, and then there was a Muppet Fest, and that kind of like fades out that whole era and fades in the era where we're all connected on the internet, or that's kind of what it feels like to me as someone who wasn't really there for that moment. But like, are we starting to have enough of a fan community infrastructure that the Muppets could officially hold just a Muppet specific event for fans to get together, and enough people would show up?
I think that's certainly possible.
Yes.
Obviously, Muppet Fest came at a time where one company controlled everything.
Right.
I mean, at that point, I believe they may have. Oh no, 2001. By that point, I believe Sesame Workshop had gotten full rights to the Sesame Street characters.
But Elmo was still in that show
Oh,
that they
yes.
did at Muppet Fest.
And it's clear that the entities still get along to a degree. That's why we got that Jim Henson birthday video a couple of years ago with Oscar, Gobo, and Kermit.
The 3 Jim Henson characters. The 3 characters that you think of when you think of Jim Henson and you want to celebrate his birthday. You think of Kermit, you think of Gobo, you think of Oscar the Grouch.
Okay, well,
Oscar was a questionable pick, but
Oscar was
I think it was a matter of
inclusion.
availability.
I don't know. It feels too late to speculate on it now. It was over a year ago. I have no idea. I was hoping it would be an annual thing and there would be a new one for this year with Ralph the dog, Slimy, and Third Doozer on the left.
It's clear that they work together to a degree, but at the same point, they each have their own interests and prerogatives.
Right.
Yes. I believe that it's quite important to all 3 of them to have a relationship with each other.
I mean, it's just too much intertwined.
That is correct. It's too much intertwined, and you can't think of one without the other, really.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they are so intertwined. But as as you said, Matthew, it's just they all have their own interests. They all have their own way of doing things. That I think it
would take a fourth entity like the Museum of the Moving Image to bring them all together. And
Correct.
that way
I
it's
also
not
think-
any of the 3's event, but they can all
Correct.
contribute to it.
And I also genuinely think, why can't we do it? I've had the thought many, many times. Joe and I have had long conversations about, can't we do something like this? It's just the money side of things really is the problem.
We're going to need a
Right.
whole lot of people to buy way more Manhattan Melodies t-shirts.
Yes, exactly right. So listening to you guys talk about the Jim Henson weekend, obviously I wasn't there, the 3 of you were. I, follow along by looking at, some of you guys were posting stuff in the Discord. I know, Matthew, you posted a lot of photos in our just ToughPigs staff Discord. I was looking at people's stories on Instagram and whatever it might have been. And this was the first year, like watching it over the last few years, that I did think, oh, this is almost getting out of hand a little bit. Like more and more people are coming to these things, and not out of hand in necessarily a bad way, but
Sure.
like I understand you, JD, saying like, it almost felt a little overwhelming and like there were almost too many people there and you almost couldn't settle in.
I was completely overwhelmed. I was
I
completely
certainly get that.
overwhelmed.
That said, I do think the logistics of spreading it out over 2 days made it slightly less overwhelming than it was on the one day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because this year, I think the logistics worked way better by having the walking tour on Saturday so that no one had to miss anything happening on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was very, very helpful. But yeah,
So
Jared.
so looking at it, I think there is definitely a world, and I don't think it's far off, where we could have something like another Muppet Fest. I just think, as you said, a 4th entity is going to have to be the one to bring it together, and I don't see why that can't be us. It's just the logistics of it happening. I don't quite know. I almost think
money.
it would need and money.
Mostly
correct.
the
And,
money.
yeah, mostly the money. So, Gab, how much are you going to donate?
well, I'll have to scrounge up some things for my couch, but I think I could make a good amount.
I mean, I can hawk Pa's tool chest.
Well, a Pa would have, so I think that's okay. I feel like to a degree, fourth entity is, in theory, the Jim Henson legacy. Like, that has functioned as the fourth entity that can negotiate stuff,
Yes.
like stuff with the Museum of the Moving Image with
And
those three
The
companies.
retrospectacle in New Zealand.
And so I think instead of having Muppet Fest, it's time for Craig Shemfest, where somehow Craig and the rest of the Jim Henson legacy put together a whole convention with panels on all of the Henson and Muppet things.
I mean, to be fair, that kind of is what the Henson weekend is. A lot of it is moving image, but it's also a lot of the legacy.
It's true. And like, it's cool that there was trivia. There was a screening. Like, there were so many different ways to interact with the rest of the fan community and to celebrate one's love of Jim Henson and the Muppets all in one thing. And I think that is a big part of what I enjoyed about it so much. Getting to watch a screening that bounced around from property to property, regardless of company, was lovely. I mean, for context, for those who don't know, there was a screening of 70 moments from 70 years or something like that. Like the 70 highlights that had been voted on by you, the fans. My gosh, seeing all that stuff with an audience was really great to just remember, like, oh yeah, right, this is funny. Like, it's lost on me now, but then it was funny anew. Like, good grief, the comedians of Bear became funny again for the first time for me in a very long time, just because I was with a room that was feeling it. And I guess this is where I want to bring it to you, Jared. How do you feel about all of this stuff happening in a place where you aren't, and how that is a part of this shift towards the physical and the visual?
Genuinely, hand on heart, this was the first year that it actually bothered me that I wasn't there. This year was the first year that I felt like I was missing out. I've missed out on things before, like, the live shows, like the O2, for
Great
example.
moments in American history. You missed out on that.
I'm oddly okay with that one.
Oh, really? Okay.
I had, for the Muppets Hollywood Bowl show, I had my ticket organized.
Really?
Like, I just had to press a button because I got a tax return, a very good tax return, but I would have had to have left like 2 hours later to go to the airport. I was just going to do a whirlwind trip. I didn't end up doing it.
Wait, Jared, you realize I think that was a very good idea, because had you done that, they would have canceled the show while you were on the airplane.
True. That is an old reference that a lot of people won't understand.
It's worth it to me. It's worth it. It's still so funny to me and also so sad.
Okay, very quick aside. I flew to Disneyland in 2014, and while I was on the plane, they closed Muppet Vision at Disneyland. I landed and found out that it was no longer there. Now, I have seen it. I saw it in 2010, but anyway, that's not the point. The point is, I have missed things before, but this was the first year that, like I said, everyone was together, and I felt like I should be there.
Yeah.
And so, and I'd love to come. It's very expensive for me to fly halfway around the world.
Right.
Which is why I say this fandom could stand to do more events spread out, because really it's a matter, the fandom is not necessarily exclusive to who can afford to come to New York City for a weekend.
Correct.
Right.
And so, the plan is I will eventually hopefully get there for one of these weekends. When that happens, I don't know.
We do hope to see you.
And that's why, thank you. And that's why I enjoy doing these podcasts like this, because I actually get that time to talk to you guys. Yes, okay, Matthew and JD, I talk to you guys fairly often with the Discord and stuff, but Gav, you and I haven't spoken in a long time, just the two of us.
It's true.
And so, and that's why I do that Muppet Family Feud event a couple of weeks ago, because that way I actually got to interact with people. That's why I like the internet side of things and like the Muppetgram side of things, because I'm actually getting that interaction that I'm sort of missing out on a lot of the other time.
Right. But I think that as fandom moves more towards, you want to see the latest Muppet thing? Well, it's a show that's on Broadway. You want to see the big Muppet event that all the fans are gathering for? It's in Walt Disney World. As that happens, then there are certain parts of it that are very pricey. And even as it moves towards visual stuff on Instagram, then the people who are going to get the most attention will often be the people who have the time or the resources to make stuff that is not for not how they're making their living, or who have the time and the money to travel to places, who have the money to collect things. Those sorts of things become a bigger factor in the fan community, whereas the fan community that I latched onto on Twitter was a lot of people who had no money, in many cases still don't, and nevertheless were all kind of equally part of things because they just had to write a tweet or join a Twitter space. And again, this is not me railing against anybody. By no means. I have no objections to what anyone's doing. Everyone should be expressing their fandom in all these different ways. But it is something I think about. Like, there is like a slight economic shift in the fan community that happens as the medium of it changes. Does that make sense?
It's very true, yes.
Well,
I would
even-
argue like the online events, like the Family Feud thing, is kind of what bridges that, though, because it's something that's accessible for everybody.
Yeah.
And I also think, especially as we are very much a grassroots fandom, there's nothing stopping people from like just hey, I'm in this area,
Right.
want to get together and just talk about Muppets.
Right.
I think that there's a great potential in that.
Yeah.
I should say there is a community in Australia. Like, there are a couple of people here who I have met because of the Muppets, and I'm friends with because of the Muppets, and because of the fandom, and because of ToughPigs and Muppet Mindset and all those sorts of things. And, even the people overseas, like, when that capsule came out, and I know with the next ones and stuff that are going to come out, they are US only. And I have had people in the States go, if you want to have it sent to my house and then I will ship it to you, do that, whatever it is. So people are making those, are sort of making accommodations for the fact that I'm not necessarily around. It's just, like I said, it's just seeing photos of everyone together. Like, it just reminds me that, like, I run a website with Joe and Ryan. I have never shared physical space with either of those two men. I have never once looked them in the eye, except
Still?
over.
I
Except
have.
over
I mean,
Zoom.
it's nice, but nothing to write home about.
Yeah, I'm glad the internet exists, and I think if the internet went away, yeah, I'd be very sad to lose a lot of people.
I would be terribly, terribly sad if the internet went away, which is why I am so sad that it's crumbling as much as it is. And then that in turn makes me more thankful for the in-person things, weirdly. It's strange. I keep trying to steer this episode towards the new Muppet Show because it feels like that's the thing. But also, I will say, at the New York Henson birthday weekend thing, that was another time when I kept thinking we were all going to talk about, what do you think's going to happen on the new Muppet Show? And it was weirdly not a big topic of conversation. Like, it came up a little every now and again, but maybe because we know so little, people don't seem nearly as jazzed about that as they are about fan things.
There's not a lot to say about it at the moment.
I think people will be jazzed. It's just all we know is that it's happening, and there's a new gaffer.
There's a new Gav?
No, there's only ever going to be one Gav. Let's get that straight.
Okay.
I am the only Gav ever. I also think Muppet fans have kind of learned to like hold their tongue until things actually come out, just to not be disappointed.
Yeah, don't get your hopes up. Never get your hopes up, which is tough because like in a way it feels like we need to be talking about this constantly to make sure absolutely everybody on Earth knows to watch the new Muppet Show because we kind of need this one to work.
Yeah, I think as well, like, and that's sometimes with the ToughPigs Discord, like, we have over 1,100 people on there now. Sometimes I'll just take a quick look and I'll see people talking about the new Muppet Show going, I can't wait until, this is going to happen. And I hope that character gets their own sketch. And I hope this happens. And it's like,
oh, kiddos.
Yeah. Oh, kiddos. Oh, come on, guys.
Oh,
like,
honey.
Yeah, that's very much what it feels like. It's like, oh, buddy, just wait. Just wait and see. Because, I have no doubt it will be good and I will enjoy it. And I'll have a big dumb grin on my face for a lot of it. But I'm also not expecting this to be the be-all and end-all greatest thing they've ever done, because I have been burned before. So
Jared put a lot of money into Muppets Now merchandise.
Oh my god! I put a lot of money into Muppets Now. I was one of the investors, and I lost everything.
I'm so sorry, Jared.
I wanted more Howard Tubman.
You got what you deserved, honestly.
Okay. Steering away from that, I guess. I wrote I started writing an article for ToughPigs that I just never finished up, that started with this lie of an intro. It went, we've all been pretty hyped up about the news of a brand new episode of The Muppet Show coming to Disney Plus next year. When we got the news here at ToughPigs HQ, we all leapt up and cheered. We high-fived, hugged, cried, poured Gatorade on Joe's head, uncorked all the wine, drank all the beer, sang the national anthem, did the Kermumbo, did Coke, and the rest we don't remember. And
It doesn't have to be a lie. I mean, I can call him up and like arrange that if you want.
Okay, thank you. But like, it's kind of the feeling that I wanted to be true, because there was that little bit of a sense of, holy crap, the thing we've been talking about forever is actually happening. Like, I wrote a whole article last year about how it feels like this should be happening, gang. Everybody wants it. It feels like it should be happening. And then it's like, what? It's happening? It's real? In this timeline? It's not a show that you have to be on one specific journey of a Disney cruise ship to see. It's The Muppet Show, new Disney Plus in this reality.
Television screens and more.
I can't believe it. It's actually happening, but it is that thing of like, we've been burned so many times before that we can't get that jazzed about it just yet. We're excited, but boy, are we just like, at least for me, I'm trying not to have any expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And the odd thing is that it's working. The one thing I will say... Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I would tend to agree. My expectations lie only in that I know what this team is capable of. You know, and I know that the love and the dedication that like Lee Slaughter and Danny Iglesias and Frank Reisnider and stuff that they have for this, and I should say Ryan Dozier as well, that they have for these characters and the reverence they have for these characters and their willingness that they just want this to be good.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you look at the couple of things that they've all done together, which has been the you know, they all came in sort of after Muppets Now. So, you know, you look at Muppets Haunted Mansion and you look at Muppets Mayhem. And even just like the things at the parks, like the Muppets on a bus singing Christmas carols during a parade, whatever it might be. This is all these guys.
Yeah.
And so I have
Or
faith
Bunsen
that
and Beaker selling chicken wings.
Or Bunsen and Beaker selling chicken wings, which, by the way, I was there when they filmed all those things, and it was very fun to watch.
Well, I was at Epcot and I drank the pickle milkshake.
Well, oh, no. Well, I heard them talking about the pickle milkshake, and it sounded tasty.
It's better than I was expecting.
Was I born?
I pitched a joke for that, and they didn't take it, and I can't remember what the joke was. Yeah, so my expectations lie in only that I know what these guys are capable of and what they want to do. It's just what it has turned out to be. Now, I can get no information out. Their intentions are pure, correct. I can get no information out of them. Ryan Dozier will tell me nothing. Danny Iglesias will tell me nothing. Lee Slaughter will tell me nothing. So I don't know any more than anybody else. But my expectations are high, but realistically high. Like, I'm not expecting to be all and end all. I am going into it ready to be happily surprised with what we get.
I think the potential of it is the most exciting thing, naturally. That's how it goes. But not just the potential of more Muppet Show stuff and more good Muppet stuff and more of the Muppets in their element, more of these characters in the environment that they're from, where they really belong. There's another thing about it that's pretty exciting, or at least has a lot of potential to it. This could be the thing that breaks the Vogel vicious cycle. What do I mean by the Vogel vicious cycle? I mean the fact that it has felt like for a very long time, there has been this shadow cast over the Matt Vogel Kermit by internet comments being really, really mean about it. And there's been a sense that maybe like that we haven't gotten the big on-screen production with Kermit the Frog yet, because maybe this Kermit is either not ready or just the fans haven't gotten used to it yet. And so why center a big production around a character that the fans or just that the general public is not used to yet in this form? But then because we don't get the big production, not enough people are seeing what the Muppets are doing, and so they can't get used to this version of Kermit. And so then they're bitter about it online, and then it feels even more like maybe it's not time yet. And now I get the sense that it's time. I get the sense that it is time to play the music, time to light the lights. Everyone who likes the Muppets, I assume, I hope, is going to see this, see that it's out there, unless there's another thing like the Jimmy Kimmel thing and people unsubscribe from Disney Plus forever and ever and ever. But you know what I mean? Like, barring anything like that happening again, presumably everyone who likes the Muppets is going to tune in for a new Muppet Show, and they're going to, one way or the other, get used to this Kermit the Frog, or this is the moment where we realize they can't get used to it. The Muppets doing the Muppet Show again isn't even working because of how much people are not vibing with this particular element of the franchise. I don't know which way it's going to go. I'm hopeful for the less conflicting option, more nice option, but I don't know.
I mean, my feeling is it certainly may be one of the biggest projects that Matt will have done as with Kermit.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's necessarily fair to put that kind of pressure on it. Look, if people aren't crazy about the Vogel voice, that's up for Muppet Studio to decide. They get to decide whether Matt continues on as Kermit or not. It's not up to the fans.
Of course.
They can complain till they're blue in the face, but as long as, the folks at the Muppet Studio have faith in him, then that's that. It's either get used to it or get used to less Muppet things.
Well, and I can't tell whether it's going to be the people get used to it or they get used to less Muppet things. And that's the thing, is I don't know which way it's going to go, but it feels like this is going to be, at least to some small degree, a moment for Matt Vogel Kermit.
Well, you have to look at it this way. How much do general audiences really even value just the Muppet Show? Not even like, because everybody knows that the Muppets do the Muppet Show all the time. That's like kind of their gimmick. But like, you don't really see people that don't consider themselves like at least committed Muppet fans watching the Muppet Show often. I would say that nowadays the Muppet Show doesn't have as much value as it did when it had the Brian Henson intros. But I think like
I think that when the Muppet Show hit Disney Plus, it was huge. I heard a ton of people talking about the fact that they were watching the Muppet Show all the time on Disney Plus when that came out, and I think it spawned a growth in our fan community to a large degree. Multiple new podcasts sprung up, some of which lasted and are still going. Like the Muppet Show being more available on Disney Plus was big, and people have been watching it. It's like, I think my understanding as an outsider is that it has been popular, and that is part of why we're getting this new show.
If it doesn't get clipped and like put out into the spaces of where broader audiences can see them not on Disney Plus, then I don't think it's going to get real traction. But I think Sabrina Carpenter being in it is kind of the plus here.
Right.
Because she is arguably, she's been the biggest star this year. Let's be real. Let's be honest.
It is unreal that we are in the timeline in which guest star wise, the Muppet Show just scored this jackpot in my mind.
Yeah.
100%.
This is our Rudolph Nureyev moment.
But like, truly, it's mind-boggling to me. Like, sorry, it's not with, oh gosh, who was that? The host of America's Funniest Home Videos, who they always got back in the day.
Tom Bergeron.
Tom Bergeron. Yeah, the fact that it's not the Muppet Show with special guest star Tom Bergeron, but it is the Muppet Show with special guest star Sabrina Carpenter.
Yeah,
mind-boggling.
Yeah. I think realistically, two things are going to happen. Number one is JD. I think, unfortunately, it's just going to show that people aren't going to get used to it. I've become tired by. I was tired by it by 2019.
I was
the
going to say
comment.
you have been tired of people not liking the Matt Vogel
It's not
voice
not
pretty
liking it.
much
I
the
don't
whole.
care if they don't like it.
Okay,
Stop complaining about it. There's other things in the world to worry about. Move
right.
on. And and yes, okay, I'm a fan of Matt's Kermit. I think there are a couple of times where I have been like, that hasn't been the best Kermit you've done, Matt. But there are other times where I'm like, yeah, you nailed it.
Yeah.
Where I think this will help is that where I think Matt shines the best as Kermit is when Kermit's happy and doing stuff. So, you think about the O2 shows or the Hollywood Bowl shows. Kermit was great in those because um, he was sort of lively and happy and performing and having a great time. You look at Muppets Haunted Mansion, Kermit worked best when he was the ghost version of like a ghost host or whatever he was, rather than the Kermit who was sitting at home being all sad because, you don't have to be great to be the great Gonzo, or whatever the hell it was. Um, that yeah, I hated that side of Kermit.
You
So
don't have
where
to
I
be the
think
king prawn, Pepe. You can just be a prawn.
exactly right. Um, so I think this will help because I think Kermit will feel like that happy putting on a show fun Kermit. Like yeah, he might get grumpy and angry and stuff like that, but I think it will show different dynamics and we won't just have the down in the dumps Kermit.
I think you make a great point.
Thank you
Was
very
that was that Matt Vogel Kermit?
Oh no. Hey, I think you make a great point. La la la.
Okay, thank you.
much. So what I think will happen is, yes, I think, and it's funny, like you don't realize it was only because the internet wasn't so much of a thing. There were a lot of people who grew up with the Muppet Show who
Hmm.
never got used to Steve Whitmire.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
listened to, there was an old radio show in Australia called Get This. And it's one of my favorite things, and I will still occasionally just cycle through old episodes.
Hmm.
And I listened to one recently, and Kermit the Frog came up. And this was in 2007. So this is 17 years after Steve took over.
Hmm.
The host, Tony Martin, says, and granted, he was wrong about it, but he goes, didn't Brian Henson or Jim Henson's son take over? And he just never quite sounded right, but everyone just kind of went along with it because we're like, oh, I guess this is just what he sounds like now. But it still doesn't sound right. That was 17 years later, and
Right.
people are still commenting on it. So people aren't going to go away, unfortunately. We're always going to have to deal with this as long as Kermit is played by Matt Vogel. What
In
I also think is going to happen with this special, sorry, one moment. What I also think will happen with this special is that it won't lead to, I don't think it will lead to a series. I wish it will, and I hope it will, but I don't think it will. I think it will lead to more Muppet Show specials. I think we'll
mm,
get a handful every year for a little while, and with other big name I think that's also how you keep getting someone that's the same caliber as Sabrina Carpenter by
right.
only doing it every so often.
I'll take it. I'll take
Yeah.
it. That sounds fine. I remember in 2011, listening to a podcast talking about the 2011 movie, and the hosts were saying, the guy doing Kermit's voice still doesn't sound quite right. And I'm thinking, it's been over 20 years. I don't know that we get to say that it's wrong because I think he's the standard now. I think this is what it is.
Yeah,
Like we're past the point where he can be wrong because he's not being held to the same standard anymore. He's being held to himself because it's been over 20 years. And
correct.
Well, the
then
problem
even
is that Kermit has always been held to the standard of people's memories. And if
right.
you remember Jim Henson, no, Steve isn't going to sound the same. And if you grew up with Steve, Matt isn't going to sound the same either.
And
Which is
one day someone will take over for Matt, and someone will go, doesn't sound like Matt, doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
yep.
And and as you said, JD, it's a vicious cycle, and we'll
I
just
mean, look,
continue
I've had
going.
to shout down people in my own family who said, "Oh, why not just get AI Jim Henson?"
Oof.
Oh, gross.
No. Oh no,
Where
I
I
was against it vehemently.
Yeah. Where I my big thing from day one, since the day I found out Steve had been let go and that Matt was taking over, my whole thing had been I just hope Kermit feels like Kermit. As far as I'm concerned, Matt could have come in and been like, well, hi everybody, hi ho, Kermit the Frog here. As long as he felt like Kermit, like Steve felt like Kermit to me. He felt
Mhm.
like Jim's Kermit.
Yes.
Matt feels like Steve and Jim's Kermit to me. It still feels like the same character. And for me, that's so much more important than the voice maybe not always being 100% spot on. And people aren't even willing to accept it because they're so put off by the voice. And there are people there are people on the ToughPigs staff who I have had arguments with about this. As you said, JD, I've had enough of it since pretty much 6 months into it. It's like, all right, it's time to move on now.
I also
Yeah.
think, and I much as I don't want to keep relitigating Matt Vogel's Kermit, I think also the disadvantage Matt has had is, whereas with Steve, Kermit was still a very active character in the years following Jim's passing. Matt really hasn't gotten that chance to showcase himself.
Well, this is what I meant by the Vogel vicious cycle. This is what I'm saying.
I also think as well, Steve had, and this is going to sound like an awful sentence, but let me explain myself. Steve had the added bonus that Jim had died, right?
Yeah, you couldn't go back to the
you couldn't go back. Whereas because Steve got let go and is still around and is still like, you know, doing
convention appearances
and stuff like that, there are people who go, well, why can't we just hire him back? You should hire him back. It's like, no, it's not quite.
No, not really on the table, actually.
It's not on the table. It's not going to happen. So yeah, it's
would be
so Steve...
a strange dynamic on set, I imagine, which is maybe not what you want for a Muppet production. Correct. Or for making any production.
Yeah, I think so. Go on.
Yeah, no, Steve kind of, you're right. Like, he kind of had that advantage where he was the recast, and people knew Jim Henson died. They were like, okay, well, we either have a choice of a recast or nobody else. I think also, like, it's different in this landscape because, you know, I've been told, like, yeah, people also complained about Steve's Kermit when Steve started, but a lot of those complaints weren't platformed the same way that we see them now in social media comments, you know?
Mm-hmm. And also, in terms of other, like, our capacity to imagine other people being Kermit is much wider, because now there's a landscape in which you can not just see all of the angry comments, you can also see all of the people doing their own bad Kermit impressions that a lot of people think are really good. Mm-hmm. Like, which just flooding the internet, people who are like, Dreamers Piggy, and people are like, oh my gosh, it's spot on. It's been a big part of this recast that wasn't really a possibility before.
My argument is always with people who are such big things of like Steve should come back. I always say, do you think Steve sounded anything like Jim? And if they say yes, I go, well, you and I have nothing further to discuss because we're never going to agree. Steve did not sound like Jim at all. And I think by the end, he was just sounding like Steve. But again, like I said, as long as it felt like Kermit, it didn't really bother me. Matt doesn't sound like Steve. Steve didn't sound like Jim.
Okay, I have a million thoughts on that, and gosh, I should have started this conversation earlier if I was going to have it, but it's going to bug me if I don't share them now. Steve Whitmire's Kermit, to a much greater degree than Matt's, was in the tradition of the way that the Muppets had trained us that a Kermit kind of voice sounds. And so you can look at basically parodies of Kermit within the Muppet franchise that give you a sense of how the Muppets think about how Kermit sounds. The first one being Kermit the Pig on the Muppet Show, in which Dave Goelz is doing that kind of, you know, Kermit the Pig, like he's doing that kind of froggy, you know, pollywoggy, boggy, you know, that wet, squirmy sound. And then you get to the Muppets Take Manhattan with Phil, Gil, Jill, in which we see what a frog is like when they are not surrounded by bears and pigs and chickens with their natural frog accent. And of course, you know, they all talk like this. And then Muppet Babies comes out after that. And Frank Welker's Kermit is, hey there, baby piggy. You know, it's that kind of, like, it's all in this sort of universe like this. And does any of that sound exactly like Kermit? No. But the Muppets over and over and over again taught us that the way that you sound like Kermit is like that. And then Steve did a Kermit voice that was as much as he possibly could be in that Kermit tradition. And I think Steve was, more than being held accountable to Jim's actual voice, is held accountable to that imagined Kermit voice that everyone does impressions of. The I don't have any money, but what I do have is a very particular set of skills. That's not actually how Jim Henson's Kermit talked. It had a lot more nuances to it, but there is a shared social agreement that it sounds like that. Matt Vogel does an incredible job as Kermit the Frog in so many ways, but his natural voice is not a, a wet, slimy, froggy, pollywoggy, swampy, rounded sound. All those things that make the voice sound froggy.
Is southern.
No, it's not that. It's different. It's different. I'm talking about this. You understand what I'm talking about this.
Yeah.
Like that
JD,
is just...
there's a certain like glunk, like
Yeah.
the lumpy noise to it that maybe Matt hasn't adapted, which
There's also a roundness to it that, like, you can think back to. Okay, this is a weird comparison, but when Bob Dylan would sing in a way that sounded kind of nice, not his, but the other Bob Dylan singing voice on "Lay Lady Lay," "Lay Lady Lay, lay across my big breast," it's that thing is just the opposite of the way that Matt's natural voice is, where his is a like dry, coarse, sandy, throaty, a little bit nasally voice, one that sounds great, one that I love to listen to as a podcast host, one that I love to listen to for Jerry Nelson characters. But translating that, for that very dry sound to the very wet sound, is a bridge that vocally he has never been able to cross. So Steve has Ed had the advantage of more time. Steve had so many advantages, but it also helped that Steve could get a little bit closer to the way that the public like shares an imagined sense of what a Kermity, froggy voice sounds like in a way that Matt's voice just can't quite seem to do. Is that me saying Steve should come back? Absolutely not. Is that me saying that's possible? Of course not. Am I saying that the character should be recast with someone else? I don't think so, but... Am I still a little bit taken out of it every time I watch a new Kermit thing? Yeah, I started listening to the Before You Leap audiobook just to try to, like, baptism by fire, get used to this voice. And I still, after listening to the first 30 hours of this 4-hour audiobook, I still can't quite get settled into it. And I want to, but I'm not sure I'm someone who can believe that the voice is nothing. When I think of a character like Little Chrissy on Sesame Street, right? I love Little Chrissy. And it didn't matter who the puppeteer was. It mattered who the voice was. It was about that Chris Surf vocal, singing Exit, singing Count It Higher, and indeed the vocal performance that he gave as a character in those little quiet moments at the end of Exit. And then when he shout, like, for me, it's about the vocal performance. And I don't know who was performing the puppets in most of those. It doesn't matter. I know sometimes it was Jim Henson, but it doesn't matter. I still love that character because the vocal performance is something. The voice is something. And if they brought the character back and recast the character and it didn't sound the same, I would be like, what's even the point? I don't care. And so there's only so much I can blame fans, as tiresome as the conversation gets, for having that experience of, well, actually... The sound of it was a big part of my connection to this character, who sounded about the same for about 25 years, for over a quarter of a century. I think that it's understandable and valid to feel an extreme sense of disconnect after that.
Yeah, and I think ultimately, like, the line is drawn at Kermit has a unique accent, and it has not reappeared necessarily every time.
I mean, Steve never had the accent.
No, he had like a little bit of it. He did, because he's from Georgia and he can kind of mimic it a little bit.
Steve's Kermit sounds a bit more Canadian, whereas Jim's sounds more Southern.
Well,
I don't know why Steve sounds Canadian. It doesn't make sense, but
Jim's Kermit. This is like the only example I can think of. Jim's Kermit would say the word that as dat. And Steve's Kermit did the same thing because he picked up on those nuances.
Interesting.
And Matt's Kermit is very enunciated. And that's all I have to say about that.
Neither of them has Jim's, ball, call, fall, that kind
Right,
of thing.
yes.
Yeah,
That was
but
unique.
everything that the two of you have just said, and especially your entire point, JD,
Mm-hmm.
that is why this new Muppet Show will not get people to change their minds. That is why
Yeah.
that is why the latter will happen. That is why people will just never accept it. And I get it, and I don't blame anyone for having that disconnect. I'm just sick of reading the comments.
Sure.
Move on.
Yeah. The other thing I will skip my other points about that for now, and I can circle back to this some other time, or you and I can yell about it
Can we
privately
make
later,
a
Jared.
sequel episode after the thing comes out?
Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with this show yet. What I'll say is whatever Matt is doing is definitely working at in-person events, as I've experienced myself, and as I've seen other people have this experience. If you can get people in a room with him, then the puppetry matters a lot more. Like when you're watching a good puppeteer do Kermit as opposed to a fan do Kermit, then you can just tell, oh, that's really Kermit the Frog. You can see it. And when that happens to people in person, they notice it a lot more than on video, and people lock in and do not notice the vocal differences as much, but do notice the character, the personality, all the stuff that you and I live for. Like, Jared, I think both of us really appreciate a good embodied puppetry performance.
Oh, absolutely.
When I'm watching, like, the stuff that gets me excited watching the Muppets these days is when Ryan Dillon makes an interesting acting choice with Elmo. Like a video I saw of him a few weeks or months ago, where Elmo and Abby are having a laughing fit, and as they calm down, Elmo wipes a tear from his eye. Of course, there's no real tear there, but the gesture was so perfectly done, I lost it. And that has nothing to do with the voice. That all has to do with puppetry skill, acting, being able to totally embody a character and think about the way that someone would actually experience laughter and the nuances of that. That's where Ryan is just endlessly creative and never lets you get bored with his performance. And a lot of these puppeteers are like that. And I've seen Matt do that kind of stuff to a lesser extent, but I've still seen it. Like, that guy really embodies a character, and it's always really exciting to watch someone like this work.
So what you're basically saying is Matt Vogel needs to go door to door with Kermit.
Well, but it already feels like the only way we're getting to see Kermit these days is not through big video projects, but it's like apparitions. We know that Kermit still exists because of eyewitness testimonies, because people saw him show up at the University of Maryland. Okay, let me tell you this story real quick. I know we're running long. And we haven't talked to them about the main thing I wanted to talk about yet. But last night, as we're recording this, last night was Halloween. And in my neighborhood, we don't have a lot of kids coming through. And so us adults end up just sort of gathering outside and chatting with each other. It becomes a social thing. And I was talking with my neighbors a little bit. And these are not Muppet nerds like us, ordinary people, have heard of Muppets, have seen a little bit many years ago, almost sort of remember who Gonzo is, that kind of thing. And they have a kid who just graduated from the University of Maryland. So they were at the Kermit commencement speech, the commencement. They were telling me a little bit about it. I was naturally very curious. What would an ordinary person think of going to their kid's commencement and the speaker is Kermit the Frog? And initially they had reservations, like, okay, this feels a little weird. Like this is a mark of adulthood for our kid, and we're getting a sort of a children's character. There's something kind of cartoony about this. But then as it went on, and the more he talked, the more they were like, this is actually moving. This is profound. We should do, like, she, the mother, said we should be taking notes. And that's when the father said, I did take notes. I did start taking notes about what Kermit was saying because it was really cool. And he opens up his notes app and starts going through it and is like, all right, he made 3 points, and the first point was find your people, and he talks about find bears and pigs and gonzos. You remember Gonzo? Yeah, you would know Gonzo. Yeah, and he talks about taking the leap and finding people to take the leap with you, so you don't do it alone. And his third point was about keeping connections. And then he's got something about dreams. Life is how we get there. I swear to Frog, I swear to Frog, my neighbor quoted to me verbatim, "Life is how we get there." That one dang line that Matt Vogel's Kermit has been saying since the beginning. It is at least twice. Matt Vogel's Kermit says it in the Before You Leap audiobook, that dreams are how we figure out where we want to go. Life is how we get there. And I have my ordinary neighbor quoting it at me now because he thought it was profound. Whatever Matt Vogel is doing for ordinary people, so long as they get to see it, is working. He's out there delivering 3-point sermons about connections and dreams that are having people take notes and have these spiritual experiences with it like he's a dang Billy Graham. I don't get it, but it's working. It's just working.
I think this was kind of like the end-all be-all point to the Matt Vogel voice conversation, and I don't think I have any more to say.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of you finished the conversation.
Great.
This eternal conversation. I think you finished it. Thanks.
Oh, like all the comments are going to be done there. They're going to be like, you can't complain about this.
Listen. All you got to do is just put this out.
Okay. We're going to clip it, put it all over Muppet Grimm.
Make a video essay and implant this audio. I really think it'll work.
Where I disagree with Jared is I don't think that this very Muppet movie inspired Kermit, who's very happy, is going to work as well on the Muppet Show, a show on which Kermit was almost always stressed. But
that's what I'm saying.
But we have seen Matt be able to vary his Kermit and do a more stressed out Kermit before. He can do that.
I just mean like Kermit's been down the dumps a lot, and
Yeah.
I think Matt's Kermit works when he's not being down the dumps.
Yeah.
But again, we're just going in circles, and
Yep.
I'm very aware of the time.
Okay, yeah. So the last thing I wanted to talk about is another mostly in-person thing, but at least we can live stream this, the Muppet script, which is not an official thing. It's, sort of a fan thing, but it also feels big for a fan thing, as all of these comedy celebrities, these terrific comedians who I follow, are performing the scripts to Muppet movies at cool comedy venues. Mm-hmm. And this has been the thing that I've been most looking forward to. Every time there's a new one, this is my jam. This is the thing that has me excited. This is the thing that has me pumped and that keeps delivering. It is so cool, so satisfying, so validating to see cool people making this cool show out of my stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I waited too long to talk about this, and now you're all tired. Sorry.
No, I could go on about this personally because I was there.
Yeah, Gav, you were in the third one, in the Muppets Take Script Hatton. Gav, what was that like? What was it? Tell me, what was it like in the room?
Well, I had, they were small lines, but
yeah,
in the wedding scene of Muppets Take Manhattan, and close your ears if you haven't watched it, but there are babies and grandmas, and they sing this one line. And I just, kind of made, I call them like paper bobs because that's what they taught me their name was in elementary school. But, these paper origami puppets that you fold and then you draw on them. And
Good.
Yeah, that was probably one of the funniest last minute bits I think I've ever thought of in front of an audience.
It was very cute. I really enjoyed it when you had, like, on one hand, the puppet goes, "Days go passing into years," and then you like switch hands and the other puppet goes, "Years go passing day by day." It was like a really good bit that was totally unexpected and really different from the rest of the show, but really fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, Muppets Take Script Hatton was just full of incredible knockout performances.
Yeah.
With the Miss Piggy versus Joan Rivers feud.
Let me tell you.
Bringing down the dang house.
I was crying tears backstage. Mm-hmm. I was watching the scene from the stair. There was like nobody backstage. I was watching the scene as it was playing out from the side of the stage. And I was crying to the point of... No, I was laughing to the point of tears.
That makes
crying.
More sense.
Yeah, I was crying. I had a lot going on in my life. I was crying because I was laughing so hard. And the thing is that, it's scripted. So, the show is going as usual. And then they start improvising. And that just broke everything.
Yeah.
Once the Joan Rivers impersonator went backstage, I couldn't give enough compliments, and it got to the point where she was like, okay, like calm down. But I like in my heart, I really felt like I wanted to believe I was talking to Joan.
Yeah, it was is like such a good impression. She brought her own like written jokes to add to the scene, and it all killed. After that scene was over and she went backstage, everyone who was sitting on stage stood up in a standing ovation. It was a literal showstopper. And only one of many great moments in that show. Like Leslie Carrara Rudolph played, I think, 3 different characters, and each time completely had my attention. And I was just like, gosh, this is making Beth one of the funniest characters. The bear that Fozzie hibernates, one of the funniest characters in the movie. The doctor who twists Kermit's legs around becomes an extra funny character. Who in this version, because it was pulling from earlier versions of the script, had a ton of extra lines to do and like had to take on all these different voices. It became just a Leslie Carrara Rudolph festival for a moment where like you remember, oh right, this is like our greatest living actor. I forgot for a moment, but now I remember this is one of the most incredible talents on God's green earth. And then the Liza Minnelli impression.
Her Liza Minnelli was top notch. Yeah.
Oh, Leslie. What a powerhouse.
She's great.
It's been so exciting from the beginning. Like the very first one, just it blew me away just learning about the casting, seeing every casting decision. I'm like, yes, yes, yes.
So I will be taking over the next lot of the podcasts for it. Joe won't be able to do the podcasting with Matt Wilkie for the next one, so I'm taking over, and I've got a Zoom with Matt in a couple of days, and he's going to tell me the cast rundown, and I'm so excited to find out who he's got for what.
Yeah, yes, me too. Like I have already in my head been like, oh, so many interesting ideas, especially because this next one's going to be back in LA, right?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, so we can have more dropout people, which I know you and I, Jared, are both pretty excited to see. I think, yeah, from that first one, when I learned Griffin Newman was going to be playing Max, I'm pretty sure I literally fell over. It was just like, oh my gosh, it's perfection. And then the end with Sam Reich as Lou Lord being the one who welcomes all of these weird comedians into their new home, their new career, who gives them that contract and makes their dreams come true. It's like, this is such a touching moment. It's such a touching moment, and it's so silly because he's got Puppet Sam with him. The only puppet in that show is the one playing Lou Lord, and it shouldn't be touching, but it was. It was so moving. Oh, they've all been so beautiful, gang. They've all been so beautiful.
I have. I haven't got to Take Manhattan yet, Gav, but I'm looking forward to seeing.
Oh, you'll love it. You will love it.
That will be this week. In fact, may even be tomorrow.
Tell Matt I said hi when you call him.
I will.
Gang, I think we've come to the end of the first one. Probably the last one, right? This is probably the last one. Feels like it's the end of something that it was fun to try to do. Let's do plugs. Gav, what do you want to plug?
Wait. Come back to me. Start
okay.
with Jared.
Jared, what do you want to plug?
Come to toughpigs.com. You can see all the fun, silly stuff we do. We've got some fun podcasty stuff planned. Obviously, we're still doing the 70 Years, 70 Muppets. That will go on until the end of the year. And then we've got some fun ideas for next year that I cannot say yet. But yes, I'm very, very excited about what's coming podcast-wise for Tough Pigs next year.
Awesome. All right. Matthew, what would you like to plug?
I'd also like to plug toughpigs.com. We've
No
got
kidding.
a lot of really exciting things, which I know nothing about. So I'm looking forward to finding out about them slightly before you do.
Yeah, me too. I was also hearing Jared going, I don't know what he's talking about. This will be fun to learn about. Great. Gav, it's back to you. What would you like to plug?
I would like to plug for everybody to stream wherever they listen to their music. Mary Schneider yodeling the classics. Great album, lots of classics, and lots of yodeling. And
what classics?
Like I haven't already got it on vinyl. Go on.
Well, if you're lucky, you have it on CD too. You can get that extra quality in the yodel. or
Great.
whatever.
That's
whatever
what people
get at
say
CDs,
is that
yeah.
CD sounds better than vinyl. That's what people are saying.
Yeah, it might be controversial, but I'll stand by it.
Folks, if you enjoyed this program, we hope you'll consider supporting us on Patreon. Thank you to those of you who do so now. This ToughPigs Muppet Fan Podcast was executive produced by the ToughPigs Muppet Fan Podcast executive producer, Joe Hennis. I have no idea what the plan is for artwork for this.
He was nowhere near here. He wasn't even here.
I know. I have no idea what the plan is for artwork for this, but I'll thank Kenny Durkin anyway, because that's who did it for the Muppet Fandom panel show, and he was really nice to me in New York. Thanks to Frank Oz, because it's always a good time to thank a Frank. For ToughPigs.com, this is JD Hansel reminding you as I... Oh, wait, before I go, hold on a second. My name is JD Hansel, and I do a podcast about classic cartoons called Stick to Shorts. New season coming pretty early in 2025. It should be a fun time talking about a lot of your favorite classic cartoon shorts. This is JD Hansel reminding you, as I always do, of Jim Henson's motto, you'll never get out of the cube. Goodbye.
Well.